So let's continue. Okay, now we have a next line, PPC. How you're going to determine, why do you even need the PPC? Usually sellers just put for $19.99 the price, and then they think, I'll just spend in the beginning for PPC a little bit, and later I will stop it. Actually, you will never stop it, because the way PPC works is that it ties very tightly with your organic ranking. So if you stop your PPC completely, very often your organic ranking is affected as well. And sometimes we can reduce the PPC spend, not completely stop it, but you can never exactly turn it off once you start it. I don't know, Kevin, do you agree with me? Is that the way it goes?
Yeah, you're typically going to be running PPC for quite some time. Yeah, I would just budget that you're always going to be running it.
That's right. Now I'll tell you exactly how and how much to budget for it. Okay, so how do you know? Because if you budget it well, you will always make money. If you know in advance, I'm going to spend that much on PPC and cushion for it and add the profit margin, you will always make money, even from your first batch. So it's a good idea to do it. Now, if you use any kind of PPC software that automates PPC for you, this is usually what they suggest. There's this fancy name called ACoS. If you've never heard of it, it's a very simple thing. It's just how much of your revenue is your ad gonna cost. So they're saying when you launch the product, you should spend 90% of your revenue. So they're saying that if you have $19.95 item, you should spend at least $18 for your ad cost, to push it, to launch it, basically waste all your money just to launch it fast. That's usually the recommendation in some of the software. And they say once you do clearance at 70% of your ad revenue. So I'm talking about ACoS. They're recommending ACoS to have 70% when you're clearing. And when you want to profit, you usually optimize for 15% to 40% ad cost within the revenue, which is that ACoS thing. But when you just think about your ad spend of the revenue, so that's 15 to 40% if you spend of your revenue, you can still make profit. Okay, so now we know where we want to be. Look at what they recommend here. If you look at the actual $19.95 item and how much I should spend, so $17.95 I have to spend for the launch. I don't know, I'll think strongly about it. 5 times over, I'm never gonna do it. And here is the profitable part. So they're saying between $6 and $8 you should spend if you want to have like 30 to 40% revenue spend. Now, this is pretty high, and not all of your items that you sell are going to be PPC. Now we are thinking how much each unit sold gonna budget for PPC, but some of your sales will come from PPC and some will be organic. In the beginning, when you're a new seller, maybe more PPC and later maybe more organic, so let's say half and half roughly. Okay, so actually, when you think about it, it's not the 40%, the ad cost and the revenue, it's the 20% that we could budget, because it's only the half of it gonna come from PPC and the other half from organic. So when you look at the numbers, that comes out to be that I will put in my spreadsheet is the $3.99, which is the half of that $8 here that they were recommending. Okay, so 40%, why they're even using, it's a little bit confusing why they're saying like 30, 40, where do they get this number? Well, usually they look at your profit margin, and profit margins are, for most private label sellers, between 30 and 40%, like I mentioned, right? As I see on Shopkeeper, many sellers, 30, 40 is the thing. So usually the ACoS, the ad cost they're optimizing for, it has to be less than your profit margin. Okay, so if it's less than what you make in profit, if you spend in ad less, you make money. That's why they are suggesting these numbers here. In my case, I take the 20% of the revenue. So remember, I had an item $19.95. So whatever your item, the initial cost that you're thinking to charge, so think of that price and just take 20% of it for the budget of ad cost. That's what I recommend. Let's talk about the promos line next. Okay, you will be running coupons, and definitely I highly recommend running coupons. There's a whole big story about it. Kevin knows that I have other talks and presentations where I expand on it a lot, and I will not go into that right now. I'm just saying that you should run coupons in order to have higher visibility and more clicks into your listing. And each coupon redemption actually gonna cost you 60 cents. In reality, though, from my experience, is that not everybody clicks on that coupon redemption checkbox. The buyers are not so tech savvy to know that they have to come to the listing and click on this checkbox in order to get this coupon applied. In my experience, only 1 out of 3 buyers on average. So every third buyer figures it out, and the other 2 buy it for regular price. So actually, the coupon redemption fee is not applied for every single sale, right? It's only going to be applied every third sale. So when we split between the 3, it becomes 20 cents for each unit sold. So remember on the spreadsheet, we had the promos line there. So that's, I will put the 20 cents there for coupon redemption fee because I know only every third buyer is going to claim it. It's, like I said, everything is an approximation, but just to get you to a very good approximation. Now, maybe you will run some other promos. You'll offer some discounts. You maybe will run a lightning deal and you will have a deal fee. So think about these things as well and put that into your number. In my case, I decided not to start with those as a new seller. I'm just going to do the coupon in the beginning and not bother with these until I get some sales and traction. So I'm just going to count 0 for other promos. Amazon prep fees is also likely not to apply for you as a new seller, but you have to have it on the line when you're strategizing for price. So these are, like labeling. When you're creating your shipment on Amazon Seller Central, Amazon asks you, do you want, who is doing the packaging and the preparing? If you select Amazon is doing, then they will ask you what you want done. So they will label, bag it, bubble wrap it, whatever you need. But usually I would get it all done at Chinese manufacturer. So it's all 0 for me. Use it whatever it is in your case. Next important one is sales tax. And I will not go into it at all. I'm just going to say, for one example, if I sell in Europe, in United Kingdom, I'm going to charge 20% VAT. I'll collect it. So it will be in my price. And actually, if you look at the breakdown later, so I'm showing you an order breakdown that has tax, that has the VAT charged in UK. So look, tax was 255 within the price, and then there was shipping tax as well, and then there's sales tax payable. What that means? That means that at the end of a year, you will have to remit the collected VAT to the government, HMRC in UK. You'll have to remit it, so it's actually an expense to you. So going back to this, think about that, how much you're collecting, and what is your case. If you're selling in the United States, you'll have a tax settings. Some of the states will have the facilitator tax, which is the automatic tax collection. Okay, so Google facilitator tax if you don't know what I'm talking about. Some of the states will simply automatically, Amazon is collecting on your behalf and remitting it to the state. So you don't have to do anything. And that will not affect you in any way. You don't need to put that into your price. Whichever state you're in, if it's not automatically collected, then you should set your settings in tax here and put that into the formula. In my case, I'm from Canada. When I sell in the United States, I have no sales tax associated with it, so I am putting a 0. Next thing is a little bit of cushion for business expenses. And it's basically the last thing that we will put. Think about everything you spend on, like your writers and photographers and VAs and software subscriptions, and any other thing that you may spend, you will not know in advance. So I recommend just putting 5% of your price. So if it was $19.95 or $99, put 99 cents. So it's just the 5% of your price. That's what I recommend. For a cushion, so that, again, older sellers will say, what? You put that into each price? But in reality, you will say, oh, it's just covered for my other profit. But what this other profit? So you are actually chipping into that other profit, so you have to have a cushion in there. Now look at what will happen. Look right away, 40 cents profit you're actually making when you calculated everything. That is a good approximation. Now, it's a very sad situation, right? You don't want to be making 45 profit. What if you spend more on PPC and then you're going in the negative, or you run one lightning deal and then that's it, it's done, So you have to work from your expenses now to come up with a new price. That means you have to throw that $19.95 out the window and work from your costs. Now you know how much budget you have and how much cost you gotta make. So to do that easier, once you have a spreadsheet, you can just select it all the costs. And there's this little formula that I use. So we are going to divide by 0.8 because remember, we are putting PPC in already. That is eating 20% of the profit margin. That's why 0.8, because we want 20% profit margin. Okay, to make 20% of profit margin, what is the recommended price? And formula says it recommends 24.38 to be the price if you want to make 20% margin on top of that. All right, 24.38. That's a very strange number. Remember what I taught you about never using the 4s and the weird endings? Instead, I would either go with 25.99 or 23.99 in this case. So take whatever the formula says and make it a pretty price. Okay, just like I taught you with the pricing psychology bit in the beginning. And don't forget to also increase change these two line items. Now, because you're changing the price, now your costs are going to increase for referral fee because they're charging a percentage. So look that up, what exactly it's going to be for your item now because of this new price. And also PPC spend now 20% budget is bigger because the price is bigger here, right? And look through other expenses. There may be something you want to adjust, like the other business expenses, maybe 5% cushion would be higher than the before. I left as before because it's just a rough estimate. So profit 438. That's our math. Actually, it means that I'll make 17% profit margin when I have a PPC sale, and organic sale will actually give me 36% margin. It's a very good margin to have. So this is where I want to be. My most comfortable position, organic, about 36% perfect. That's what I want. So now I know that 25%, look, my price became $25.99. So where do I fit now in these guys? You know, look at these averages. Everybody's selling between $10.99 and $27.99. Oh, thank God, I'm fitting in the middle, right? Why thank God? Because I don't want to be this weird guy who has so much cost, who has to charge a lot. I want to be like, you know, the guy who can optimize the costs and like who makes money and everything. I mean, so I am happy that I am not an outlier, but I am on the higher end of the middle bucket. Look, I'm $25.99. That's on the higher end, you know, but I am still in here. So it's nice. And you will see, depending on your price and your cost, where do you arrive? If you arrive here in less than $10.99, I'm super proud of you and applause to you because it never happens to me. All right. So now that you have this done, you know your price, and now you know you are in the middle bucket here with your price, okay? So now you will remember there was a profit, how much profit each competitor makes, and now we wanted to just calculate how much cash investment. Remember, we were getting to this number. So how do we get to this number? How much cash investment you will need? Well, now take only manufacturing related and shipping related because the other costs will be covered by your revenue. The reason we even went through calculating that because we needed to know that $25.99. Without the calculating everything, we would never know that we need to charge $25.99. Now we know which bucket we lie in, and now we can calculate just simply manufacturing and shipping related things, and it becomes that 500 units is 3,500 cost. That is my cost in the middle bucket. Now, what does that mean to you? Like, what's that exactly say? Like, okay, middle bucket, so that's 6,000 profit a month, and I'm gonna spend 3,500. But wait, I wanted to be with these guys, you know, make a lot of money. So remember how I said that you can downgrade or upgrade your item. So think about that item now that you have in mind. That's gonna be $25. Is it too much of a price to pay $25.99 for what you had in mind? Did the price become so much bigger that it's not gonna be selling because it's overpriced? Maybe you have this kind of looking item and you're gonna charge $25.99. Maybe it's not appropriate for the market. Like, double think that thing. Now, if you would want to sit in this bucket, which makes a lot of money, let's calculate this number too. You know, what's that mean? First thing, go back to Helium 10 extension and look at those guys who are selling those more expensive items. What type of items are they? You know, in knife sharpener category, It's unfortunate, but they're so different. They are completely different things. It's not anymore this or that, adding a luxury box. In order to charge 169, it has to be an electric knife sharpener, like some awesome item that is unique and nobody else has that, like this one on the left, nobody else has, only they do. And this is a completely different game now that we're playing. So now look at yours and see in the luxury bucket, yes, you want to be there because you'll make the most profit, but is the item now completely different from what you had in mind in the beginning? Do you have to now think about this whole new product? And if it is, you'll have to do the whole calculation again, now keep this in mind and check the cost and then add those expenses and how much weight, now it's going to weight more and take more space and shipping going to be different. So now the whole different story and calculation again, if that's where you want to go. For example, manufacturing related and shipping related for this item on the right will cost that much. So once you add it up, and you will know exactly how much you need to invest cash in order to sell that item. So for knife sharpener category, I actually need to buy this other item, not this cheap $2.99 item. Now it's $25.99 item. And the shipping will be more expensive. Actually, I have to spend $14,500 as my cash investment. And that's not the end of it. Don't forget that once you order 500 units, about 1 month later, you'll need to reorder if it's selling well, right? And you need like 2 months for shipping and 1 month for production. So you need to order in advance. So that means 15,000 is not enough cash. You will need to actually have another, like some from revenue, maybe another 10,000. So it's a lot of investment, and you have to think to yourself, do I have that much money, and am I willing to spend that much right now? Should I rather be here? Now you'll think, oh, Paulina, I don't even have 3,500. Let's calculate this number. Okay, let's look at this number. Well, this number, when you go to a manufacturer, he will tell you, yeah, we can strip this, we can strip that, but the maximum I can drop the price is $1 off. So instead of $3.99, it will become $2.99. When you are downgrading the product quality, it's never dropping like half the price, like when we are talking about this, it's just a little bit. It's gonna drop not so significant as you wish. Shipping is actually gonna be exact same size, same weight, everything pretty much same. It's not gonna change much for the shipping. Your cost for this small item would be $1,960, and you'll have to reorder. So let's say 3,000 is what you need to have. You will see, yeah, Paulina, I have 3,000. I will buy this item right now, and I think I can just deal with that. I'll be in this box. I would say think twice about being in the bargain hunters box. Anyone who's selling for less than $10.99, I'm super proud of them. And Kevin mentioned that we met at Sellerfest Israel. On my presentation on stage, I didn't recommend $10.99, and we were just going. We didn't go this in-depth workshop like with you guys. I just was in general talking about the different types of buyers, and I was not recommending this guy, the bargain hunter with Scrooge. I said, I would never play in the Scrooge category. And then there was this one seller came to me and he says, Paulina, you are telling the sellers not to sell in this Scrooge category. Actually, I make 7 figures a month just from that category. So you can make money there, but all I'm saying is it's not where beginners start. It's something more of advanced, to play with low margins, to know what you're doing, to, all of these things. And if you don't believe me, look at the numbers. So plug in the $2.99 that you negotiated down. Shipping is the same. You cannot afford PPC anymore because your price is $10.99. And that's the top of the line there. It goes from $5.89, remember? And the promos you can't afford anymore. Maybe you can get the small and light, fee reduction from Amazon. Check into that. But in general, look at this. Like, you're not gonna make any money. It's not worth. Trust me. In the beginning, you'll make mistakes, and usually costly mistakes. And while your wheels are square, until you round them, it's gonna cost you on things that you're testing and buying that data, so to say. So don't start with that category. I don't recommend it. So look, this is very, very high for a beginner. It's just a big investment. That's all I'm saying. It's a good place to be if you can afford it. It's the best in terms of money. if you can make it happen, it's the best place to be. And all big sellers are turning to the higher priced items, but most of us start somewhere here. So I'm not saying it's always going to be that you start in the middle. Check your numbers, so add up all your numbers and see what the opportunity is. Maybe everyone is making a lot of money in this, so maybe, it's not so expensive to be in the luxury buyer category. Check your situation. In this specific case, priced at $25.99, I'm gonna need, that much money, and I want to be here. $25.99 is the price. But when you're starting, for new launches, I recommend going a little bit lower, just to get that little bit boost, and that's the last thing I'll teach you. So look, profit margin. Okay, there's a break even and there's the ideal, the 40% that I'm keep mentioning to you. The 40% is what you want to have as a profit margin. But remember, our margin is a little bit lower because we are putting the PPC factor in. So you'll spend 20% of your margin on PPC. Like you are budgeting that much. I mean, maybe you'll spend less or more, but you're budgeting that much. So for launch, I would say go with something like 10% margin. Reduce it a little bit. Look at the exact numbers. So our situation was $25.99 price gives us 17% for PPC sale, and for organic sale, 36% profit margin. And for launch, I would go with $21.99. It's 8%. It's not exactly 10% just because I went with a beautiful price with the odd numbers and 99 ending. $21.99 instead of like $22.34 or something, right? So that's the launch price I would go for. You will say, Paulina, but I could do it $16, and like go with the boom. Well, I would say don't do it, because on Amazon, to go from $15.99, if you decide tomorrow you want to increase it to $25.99, you can't. You will say, what? Can't I increase the price? Well, you can, but you will lose your buy box. If you increase the price too quickly, Amazon often decides that you lose your own buy box. You will say, Paulina, I don't sell with other sellers. It's my own product. I'm the only person in the box. How am I going to lose my buy box? Well, look how it looks like. This is the person who has the buy box. There is the price, and it says add to cart. Now, if he increases the price to like, I don't know, $89 suddenly, he loses the buy box to himself, and that's how it looks. Now you see all buying options and available from these sellers. No more add to cart, no more price. This completely kills your conversions. It kills your conversions, and then you don't want it to happen, so you'll put your price back. That means you will increase little bit. So you will go, the next day you'll go $16.99, and then next day $17.99, and oh, you lost your buy box. Okay, back to 16. Let's wait one more day, and then you'll just keep going. It just takes forever to go back to that $25.99. That's why I'm saying don't start too low. Start with $21.99 so that you can just gradually increase it easier than from that super low point. Okay? So now from my whole presentation, now you learned how to identify your opportunity, how to approximate your costs very, very well, and how to know what profit margin you will get from your product, how to budget for it.
I noticed one of the other things on the pricing too that I think is important is a lot of times if you really go in for the exclusive price point and you want to make your product feel like it's more expensive, that's where you drop the cents. If you go to a nice restaurant, a lot of times the psychology there is that you don't see the prices. You see prices are always even numbered. It doesn't even have the zeros on it. So if I'm trying to sell someone, let's say the Freedom Ticket course, and I say I want to make it look like it's a really expensive course, I would put period 00. So I would put 99. Let's say it's 997. Period 00, because there's more numbers there. So psychologically, it makes it look like it's more expensive. So if you're trying to make something look more expensive, which is what I would do for my competition. So I might say, you could go take a Amazing.com's course and it's $3,497, and I would put the 0.00 to emphasize that it's very, very expensive. Versus on mine, I would just put it's $997, no period, no 00, no nothing, just $997, and that makes it look like it's smaller. So that's another thing on the psychology you can use on pricing as well. I would do that, Paulina, if you're on Shopkeeper, if you have a comparison chart on how you compare to other competition, make them put the 0.00 on theirs. And
very cool idea.
Take it off. That's good. So there's a lot in pricing psychology. I mean, like she just showed you, that's very detailed on knowing what you can charge and which market you're going after. Are you going after the Scrooge or the big spender or the middle? But that's all awesome stuff. But and then figuring out the exact price point, once you figure those out, can make a huge difference in how you do. I've got a couple questions here for you. Let's see. Dion said he said if he differentiates his new product so much that no competitors can even compare, how would he decide on the price? So basically he's saying his product is so unique that nobody else even comes close to him. How should he decide on the price? Because no one is doing what he's doing with the product, not on eBay, not on Pinterest, Etsy. What would you recommend in that kind of case?
There's two suggestions. So if you're unique, you always can charge more. That's like the common sense, right? Because you're unique, you can charge more because they can't get it anywhere else. But people will still compare you with alternatives. So that's the second thing. Take the alternative market. Like, what's the alternative for your product? You're saying nobody does what I do, but they are solving the problem somehow right now, right? What's the other alternative they are solving it with? Take that market and compare. That will give you the willingness to spend to solve that problem. And that's how you can market yourself pretty much in the same way. So that's probably the best guideline I could give. But sometimes all of the rules and all of the things that I said don't apply if you are unique, patented, crazy invention or something like that. Sometimes you can just, okay, price gonna be $3.99. Like sometimes you start with something and then depending on demand and supply, you adjust it. You see nobody's buying for that price, okay, reduce it and then increase it. And then, you play with the price to figure it out. So you may have to do that as well. But to do your best guess, probably just look at the alternative market. I would start there myself.
Yeah, that's true. You start higher and you could always come down. It's harder to go up. It's much easier to come down than it is to go up. And just I know most of you have seen my example that I've taught if you've done the Freedom Ticket 2.0 with the bully sticks, where I was charging $50 for a set of 3 sticks, and everybody else is charging $30 for a set of 30. And how did I justify that higher price? I was definitely on the high end of Paulina's 3 choices there, but I had to justify that price. I couldn't just go after that and charge that. I had to justify it, so I justified it with the images in my copy and comparing it to others and showing this is what the other sticks look like. They're small and little shrivelly little things. Mine is big and lush and full, and all the different things that we did. The cartoons that I did where I showed my dogs are eating these bully stick treats in a nice 5-star steakhouse, and the other competition is driving through a McDonald's, eating junk food. So you can justify in the consumer's mind and like, you know what, this actually does look good. I will pay that extra money if they are in that willing to spend market. If they're in the cheap guys market, they're not going to spend it anyway. So I had to justify that. So that's another way you can do that. Joanna says she has a question about having your supplier do all the prep work to save on those costs. She says, what's your strategy for master carton shipping labels? These master carton labels are serialized from 1 to the number of boxes in one shipment to Amazon. What if you want to keep half of your inventory in your warehouse rather than shipping it all to Amazon in one shipment?
So I guess Kevin has a better answer than me here, because I usually don't split it. Like I don't have a location in the United States myself, and I don't use a warehouse there. So I only ship everything to Amazon right away. But I guess Kevin would say something like, use an in-between prep center, take off from there.
Yeah, the master cartons a lot of times are numbered. Let's say you have 100 master cartons, and inside each master carton, maybe there's 50 units. For example, just say you ordered 5,000 units, and there's 100 cartons of 50. So those cartons are oftentimes, like Joanna, they are numbered, like carton 1 of 100, carton 2 of 100, carton 3 of 100, and so on. It doesn't freaking matter which ones go where. That's just for sake of of maybe your 3PL or something. It doesn't matter if Amazon gets number 22, number 76, number 13. That doesn't matter. They don't have to be sequentially. It doesn't have to be like Amazon gets 1 through 50 and 51 through 100 go to your own warehouse. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's just for basically the only place that matters is that whenever you checks in to your warehouse or to your facility, that you can make sure that they're all there. And if you're splitting those up, that and that's more even for like the shipper, just to make sure that there's something not missing. But if you're splitting those up and shipping 50 directly to Amazon and 50 to your warehouse, as long as the count is 50, it doesn't matter what those numbers are on those master cartons. It really doesn't. Jen has a question. Hi, Kevin and Paulina and Kevin. What would your pricing advice be if we launch a product in the market that already has established brands? See, like the shoe market. So what would your pricing advice be if we launch a product in a market that has a lot of established brands already?
Yeah, I get this question quite a bit sometimes after my presentations in like at the conferences. And in that case, it's very often you'll have to like step on their heels with your pricing strategy. And sometimes all of the things that I said come out of the window and you work from their price first. Okay, if you are in a very harsh market with the very, very strong, with thousands of reviews, strong brands are there, you may sometimes want to match their price and their coupon exactly. So for example, they go with like $17.99 and 10% coupon, also be $17.99, 10% coupon. So at least you eliminate that decision from the customer, and they only have to now judge your reviews and your features and your pictures, and try to differentiate different ways. But the price now is eliminated out of decision. If you put $1 less than the harshest competitor, what's going to happen? They will think, oh, this guy's playing the game of I'm the cheaper, but I see he has no reviews. No, I'm not going to get that. So it's like, just be the same. Don't let them even go to thinking that kind of thing, like, why did you pick $16.99? Just be exact match of your competitor. And if your listing turns out to be next to it, it then makes it very, very nice, side-by-side comparison. So sometimes that's a good strategy. Sometimes when you have a lot of big brands and a lot of private label sellers that are copying the big brands, often the private label sellers are playing the lower price game, and if you want to position yourself as a luxury brand, I would price the same as those bigger guys. Like Kevin said, if you, improve your listing, make it look like super awesome luxury item, then you're lining yourself up to be with the big guys. There is no such one answer. You'll have to trust your gut on that, okay? So I can't give you exact answer without looking at the listings. The best idea would be to look at all of the competitors and see how it feels like. That would be my honest answer. I always like, okay, feels like it would be better to do this. So try to sit, look at it, and get that feeling a little bit as well. What if I charge this? What will the buyer, when he's skimming the prices, will it stick to my price, or they will avoid me? Or like, how? I guess watch a few more of my videos on YouTube and try to get that feeling a little bit developed, and then it will help you to guide. That's how I do it most of the time with the feeling. It's the worst advice ever. Sorry about that.
So can you tell them a little bit about what Shopkeeper does?
Yeah. So Shopkeeper, as you saw in my screenshots, is a profit calculator. So we strive to become the next QuickBooks for Amazon sellers. We are not there yet. We are still approximating most of the things because Amazon API is not very forgiving. It doesn't give us all the details that is needed transaction by transaction. And we are trying to do our best to be very precise and very easy. There are a few other tools in the market that do the same thing, right? You will say, like, why Shopkeeper? What's the difference? Why Paulina is doing it? Shopkeeper is for non-technical users who don't understand anything about accounting. And it's made so simple that you open it, it's only 3 numbers that you need to see. If you need more information, you click into it, you get the breakdown. Then this number, you click into it, more breakdown, more breakdown. You get all the same data, but not all at once in a boring spreadsheet, That is very simple and easy and fun to use. It also makes this ka-ching every time you sell something. So this is something that I loved. I built it for myself first, and then we hired a team to build a commercial version of my prototype, and it's a very successful product today.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, I want to say thanks again, Paulina, for coming on and making such an awesome presentation. You wowed everybody on here, and as always, like I've said, you're always impressive. So thanks again for coming on, and I guess if I listen to everybody, we're gonna have to have you back sometime if you're willing.
Thanks, everyone. I'd love to come back.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and thanks to Paulina for coming on, and thanks for everybody for being on here, and all those of you watching on the replay. I hope you've gotten a lot from this. I know you've gotten a lot from this. I even took a few notes myself on that calculator that she's doing all the calculations there. I'm like, that's a good one. You know what? I may even go talk to the guys at Helium 10. I have a call every Monday with some of the top guys over there, and I'm actually going to make a suggestion, if Paulina will allow me to actually say, hey,
Oh, yeah.
can you add some this some of this into Helium 10? That would be awesome. I don't know if they'll do it. It may be on the list to get to in 6 months or something, but if they could even just put a couple things like what she was showing, where here's the pricing ranges, the 3 pricing ranges or something, that would be really cool for everybody.
That'd be really cool, yes.
So I'm going to talk to Boyan, who's the head of the whole deal over there, and say, hey, I'm going to show him. Say, go watch Paulina's presentation. See if you can add some of this into Helium 10. That would be awesome.
This is a great idea.
Cool. Well, and we'll call it the Paulina extension.
The Paulina the awesomest, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, cool. Well, thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you again next Monday for the normal Q&A with me. So until then, everybody be safe and go out there and keep crushing it. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.